Hi everyone, I'm Christy Forsyth with Clarity by Christy. I am a soul therapist and an intuitive that connects with the angelic energy. This is my weekly reading where I deliver the channeled messages from the angels for how to best navigate this week. And at the end, we dive into some tarot cards as well. So if you are somebody who watches my readings, this is a really important one. I really encourage you guys, if you can, to make it through the whole thing, because these messages are incredibly important right now. This is a very important time here on earth. And I know that I say that a lot, but it's definitely, I really want to emphasize the messages here this week. So I'm getting a lot of messages from people, right? I always do. When stuff is kind of going crazy, when things are being stirred up, I get a lot of messages from people. And it's very much like what's going on with the energy and people struggling with things. And so I've been trying to really get a sense of, what does this energy look like? What are the messages? What do people need to know to be able to navigate this week and this time period? Because a lot of people are having a hard time with it. And a huge part of what I have been shown is that a big part of the struggle, or the majority of the struggle, is us. We've been talking about our bullshit, right? The stuff that we need to release, the stuff that is keeping us stuck, small, in fear. And that's continues to be what it is. And I've actually said that to a couple of people in response to their messages. And I appreciate you guys that you aren't just like, well, forget you and get angry with me and disconnect, but instead take that information and reflect on it, because that's very much what we need to be doing, is to really be taking a look at ourselves, to really be taking a look at what it is that we are putting out there, whether we're consciously choosing it or not. A lot of times we are creating from a place of unconscious thinking or unconscious energy, and we're not aware of the fact that the signal that we are putting out is what we are magnetizing into our experience. And I feel like there's so many opportunities right now for us to start to change that magnet, for us to create a magnet that is pulling in some really, really beautiful things. So I called this video something like, the struggle bus is leaving the station, make sure that you're not on it, because I'm going to try to explain the energy with the vision that I saw with this. So I talked last week about the way that I feel like we have moved forward, we have stepped into a new chapter collectively. And now we are in this place where we're standing at a crossroads, okay? And the crossroads is becoming more clear to me this week. The crossroads is, which timeline will you choose? Hopefully the highest one, right? And that's what I saw, was there was one path that was very straight and flat. And there was one path that was definitely much more uphill. And to look at that, we would look at that and we would say, that looks harder. That looks like a lot more work. But the thing is, that path is leading us to the timeline that we want to be on. That is leading us to the things that we're wanting to create, or at least what I would imagine that we're wanting to create, because those are the high vibrational things. Those are the things that we desire here in this world. So we can choose this flat path, and that's an option available to you. With that, this new chapter is going to look very similar to the last one. It might have different circumstances because I think that we've made a lot of changes, but it'll be a situation where it's like, same pattern repeated again. So for example, if you ended a relationship before you stepped into this new chapter and now you're moving forward, it might not be with that same person, but it's like same person, different body, right? Same patterns, same repeating things. And so we can choose that. And that is an option that's available to you. And that's what I think is really beautiful right now, is we do have choices. But we also have this beautiful option of elevating, of choosing the path that, while initially that uphill part will be more challenging, will be more work, but it's carrying us to where we actually want to be. And it's carrying us into new and different territory that's going to be better for us. So we have to make that decision. And through that process of choosing that, how do we get there, right? It's number one, the biggest thing is through continuing to release our bullshit. And by the way, a huge part of the bullshit that I'm seeing come up for people is this unwillingness to allow the blessings to come in, right? It's like blessings are trying to come in and we're, saying, well, I don't know, maybe that's too good to be true. Or blessings are trying to come in and we're hesitant about that because that feels different from what we're used to. Or we're failing to recognize the ways that we've already healed ourselves and to give ourselves the credit for that and to lean into that healing. And almost like this healing is new, these changes are new. And in some ways, it's easier to fall back into old patterns. It's easier to fall back into old ways of doing things. There very much is a message right now. Whatever you do, keep going forward. If you're going backward, if you're going back into things that are the past that you've already released, that you already know and have decided don't serve you, that is not going to get you where you want to be. So no going backwards. And I encourage you to consider this higher path that we're on. And so that's going to require us to release the bullshit. That's going to require us to challenge ourselves. Someone said today, you know what? My bullshit is that I'm so stuck in wanting to please other people. I'm so stuck in wanting to make other people happy. And that is preventing me from being my happiest or from going after the things that I want to go after. So it's whatever that is for you. And I think that this is very different for each and every one of us. For me, one of the things that I found over the past few weeks that I've had to work on releasing is this want to help in every single way. Things have been rapidly expanding for me here, which is beautiful, which is great, right? But I find myself leaving my workday and coming back to my phone and it's filled with like 30 messages every single day. And so I've had to kind of find a way to balance that where I want to continue to be able to help, but I also recognize that I can only do that at a pace that honors me and my time and my ability to keep myself in balance as well. So I've been trying to navigate all of that and figure all of that out. But part of my bullshit is feeling like I need to be available at all times. And that's just not, it's just not possible. It's gotten to the point where that has become impossible. And so I'm having to rework that and to challenge that and to challenge myself when I start to feel badly about that, right? So I think that this is really, really important. The other part of this is, speaking about releasing the struggle bus, is it doesn't have to be so hard. I feel like in so many situations, our bullshit right now is making things harder than it needs to be, right? Where we're putting up our own roadblocks, where we're putting up our own roadblocks for things and we are blocking our own blessings. So for example, one of the things that I'm seeing is that things are starting to get better for people. And again, they're not believing it, or they're so stuck in a pattern. So maybe things are financially much better than where they were a year ago, but they're still worried about money. Or maybe they're stepping into a new relationship, but they're still worried about the stuff from the past and how that impacted them and guarding their heart and not letting themselves lean into this new chapter. So can we just start to trust that things can get better and things can get lighter? And it's like we're keeping ourselves stuck in so many ways. So where are you keeping yourself stuck? Where are you making it harder than it needs to be? And I do encourage you, take a look at that. Like I've been saying the past few weeks, we're not doing real spiritual work, real soul work if we're not taking a look at our stuff and we're not working on changing that and we're not calling ourselves out. And again, calling ourselves out with love, right? Because there is no value in making ourselves feel guilty or putting ourselves down. Again, that could be your bullshit. That's not what it's about, but it is about challenging ourselves, because when we can take a look at the shadows, when we can take a look at where we need to do the work, this is where we grow. This is where we develop. This is where we have those aha moments of clarity that we've been talking about. And I think that there's a lot of that can continue to happen this week. I'm also being shown that there is faster redirection happening right now. So a lot of people are frustrated with this. So let me give an example. You're setting intentions for something that you want. So maybe in this example, you're setting intentions for a relationship that you want. And you're finding that things are getting started, but that's falling through more quickly. What I'm finding is that we are being redirected more quickly. So God is saying, we're not going to waste as much time on these things anymore. We're going to learn the lesson more quickly, or maybe in some cases, you don't even need to learn the lesson. I'm just going to help you out, and I'm going to clear that out of your life more quickly. So you might find that opportunities start to come through and you feel like it's maybe a positive opportunity and it falls flat. Do not chase anything. If it doesn't follow through, if it doesn't develop into something, if it falls through, let it happen, because that is that redirection that is happening. And it's so important that we allow that, because it's kind of like a cheat code. It's kind of helping us to have this happen more easily and effectively for us. We're done wasting our time. We're moving in the direction of freedom, of living our most authentic life. Like I said, those are the two key words for me for the year of 2023, freedom and authenticity. And so anything that God and our angels see as being out of alignment with our best path, our most authentic path, that's going to get cleared more quickly. So pay attention to that. How we can also make this easier, and this is a tough one, but stop trying to control it. Stop trying to tell God how to do his job. Stop trying to hang on to things with a death grip, because if you do that, this time period is going to feel really difficult right now. Okay? That could be your bullshit. So really paying attention to, where am I trying to control this too much? Where am I not leaning in and trusting the process, trusting the flow of where I am being led? Because when you can do that, that's so much more powerful. That is going to elevate us so much more quickly. That is like us going up that hill, but we have God lifting our feet the entire way. And this is where we make that uphill path feel so much easier. So we have to really work on releasing that. And I feel like I need to say, going backwards, going back to the past, trying to turn around and go back on the path rather than decide where you're going on this crossroads, that's not going to serve you. So hear that and know that you can choose it. It's an option available to you, but that's not where your higher self wants you to go. So I hope that all makes sense. I also was hearing, when I was connecting with this energy, that the things that are showing up, especially the things that are a crisis, or really challenging, that it is a crisis of your own creation. And again, I know that's hard to hear. Right? And in some situations, maybe that's not the case. Okay. So you have to really look at yourself and take a look at that, but take a look at, where have my thoughts been? What energy have I been feeding? What have I been thinking about? How much have I been worrying and creating from an energy of fear rather than an energy of love? That is really important. And how committed am I to this story that I've been telling myself? How committed? Do you want to stay in the story, or do you want to live? Do you want to live this life that you want to create? Or do you want to continue to stay in this story that is keeping you small and stuck and afraid? So give it lots to think about this week. Let's take a look at the cards. I mean, the karmic trench, right? The Four of Scrolls. Are you going to choose the higher path? Are you going to choose to change it? Are you going to choose to release it? Are you going to choose yourself and doing better? Or are you going to choose fear? Are you going to choose comfort, balance? being kind to ourselves through this journey, being focused on what do I need to balance myself, because I'm talking about this and I'm encouraging all of this, but this isn't easy. And I want to acknowledge that this is not easy, but this is important to get us where we want it to go before we ever even decided to come here. The increscent moon, it's time to put in the work. He is working by the light of the moon, right? He's working hard and he's putting all of himself into this, because if we invest, whatever we invest in right now is the Midas touch, right? I dropped one of my cards. Oh no, here it is. Okay. Is the Midas touch, the King of Pentacles, the King of Keys. Whatever we invest in is the Midas touch. So you get to choose. Either way, we are investing our time, our energy, our focus, our thoughts, our attention on things. Be choosy with what you're investing it on. The Tower, or the Lookout in reverse. What's trying to be released from your life that you're not letting go of? What are you holding on to? What are you trying to control that on some deep soul level, you understand it's time for that to come to a close? You understand it's time for that to end. Or where was something redirected? What's that quote? Redirection is God's protection. Where did God protect you? And you're failing to see that. You're so stuck in the loss, so stuck in the fear that you're failing to see the path ahead of you and where you are being led. Look up and notice the light, right? And keep coming back to our light. I think that this is so important in this energy, to be really consciously aware of, how do I keep coming back to my light? That's this balance card. How do I keep coming back to my light day in and day out? And in these moments where I do feel scared, where I am being triggered, where this is really difficult, how do I keep coming back to my light? And part of that is simply saying out loud or in your head, I choose to come back to my light. And you might say it a lot right now throughout the day, but that's okay. And the last card we have here is the Loving Elementals card in reverse. Where do we need to have more fun? I have become just so aware of the fact that we as a society right now take ourselves far too seriously. And we individually take ourselves far too seriously. And where can we have a little bit more fun? And where can we lighten up a little bit? And let this be fun. Last week I called this video Choose Your Own Adventure. This is an adventure. Life is an adventure, and can we start to treat it that way? Can we start to allow this to all unfold like the adventure that it actually is? So I hope that these messages resonate with you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys made it all the way through this video and you're watching on my YouTube channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. I appreciate all of you so much. I always appreciate a like, a share, a comment. It's a really great way to just exchange energy with me for the readings. I appreciate all of your support. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you, by the way. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you soon with another video. Take care.